What the fuck is the UK Prime Minister, Keir bloody Starmer, talking about? I mean, is he on drugs? Is he high? When a leader has to publicly say, most people still support me, you know you have a problem.
What does he mean by most people?
Strong leaders don't count heads out loud. They lead. And we haven't seen none of this leadership from one Keir bloody Starmer.
More like bargaining.
If you front Sunday page headlines is the majority still back me, the real story is who doesn't. So Keir Starmer is insisting that the majority of Labour MPs still support his leadership. And let's be honest, that sentence does all the heavy lifting. I've got to lift that one up. Because technically a majority can mean comfortable support or barely surviving.
I think it's barely surviving.
I am, as always, Sean John or Yahya.
I'm Chris.
And this is the Blue Collar Workers, where politics actually means for working people in the UK. Thank you once again for joining us. You just seen my little intro. I'm talking about the Prime Minister's most ambiguous statement. The bulk of the Labour Party supports me. No, mate. No, fuck no. You're a dead man walking. Everyone knows it. 2 weeks from the day that I'm recording this, I expect to hear of your resignation, your graceful exit. May the 7th is going to be your tombstone.
You don't want to know it ain't going to be graceful because he's going to cling on to it like no
I'm
tomorrow.
serious. May the 7th is your tombstone. It's when it's just going to get hammered into the fucking ground. This is clearly being framed the wrong way. Because if you were genuinely secure, you wouldn't need to reassure people on the front page of the newspapers. Confidence doesn't announce itself. We just show up. You know? Bold as brass. Like I'm going into his house to nick his milk and first thing in the morning. And he just shouts downstairs, make sure you leave some for my coffee.
You're buying the next one is what I'll be shouting.
Yeah, that too. It ain't what am I doing in his fridge, because that, like I said, bold confidence. It sounds less like strength and more like damage control. And Keir Starmer really has done a lot of damage control.
I was going to say, since day one, hasn't that all he done?
No. There was 3-4 months worth of grace period. Remember, we had to give him the grace period because of the Tory mess he walked into. We are now in year 2. And a lot of these messes are his.
I say, surely that should have given us an example, well, a fortuitous...
No. I always believe, Chris, in giving a politician grace. You've got to give them grace. It's unfair otherwise. It's unjustifiable.
but within that grace period, you should give a clear idea of what exactly is going to happen. Or at least a guesstimate, anyway.
Yeah, of course. But the grace period needs to exist. Remember, we've had 14 years of Tory. So this isn't a indicative to the Labour Party. Not yet. Come the 7th of May, you need to get your fucking shit out your finger out your ass and actually take some serious action on this. The majority of this is a low bar. It really is. I mean, the majority is the minimum requirement for survival. Do you not think?
That's just about reaching the bench post.
Yeah. We're not talking about minimal. You're supposed to be the Prime Minister of these great United Kingdoms. And I'm not feeling that great, to be honest, PM. I'm really not. My pocket hurts. My petrol hurts. My working boots hurt. Motherfucker, your Rachel Reeves is the next one to go after you.
Only for Angela Rayner to come in and take it.
Do you know what, Chris? I'd almost give that woman, even as a far leftist, I'd give her a shot a day. There's got to be something. We got them until 20. You do realise we got them until 2028, don't you?
I know.
So who are you going to take? Anders Burnham? He can't even get in the fucking office. They don't let him. The one decent politician in the whole Labour fucking bag of politics.
You just literally nailed it straight on the head there. The one decent politician within
the
their
one
party.
who's improved their fucking. And Andy, if you ever see our podcast, please slit some throats, politically speaking, and get the fuck back into Westminster, because this is a shit show right now, mate.
It's time to kick down that door and dominate.
Absolutely. Where the fuck do we start on this mess? Do you have to ask, Chris? Oh, I've got the majority of my party backing. How does that look? It's like us walking into work and saying, the staff have our backing. Yeah, because they have to pay us. Because we pay the fuckers. That ain't confidence, that's weakness. Anybody who says I've got the bulk of my party's backing is weak. It's fucking... Who tells your Prime Minister to say that? Whoever his advisors are, they should be shot.
Maybe his advisors are working against him.
I'm getting that point now. I'm getting that point where I think that. It's not proof of strength, Chris. It's really not. Saying a majority requirement is survival. It's not strength. It's weakness. Saying you still need a majority is like bragging your plane still has one engine. I mean, that's what it is. Your plane has one engine. Oh, we still got one engine. We're still flying.
We're still flying, but slowly going down at the same time.
You're still flying, but no one's feeling relaxed.
They're all there going, hold on, engine, hold on.
You know what I'm saying? Me and you are lying back and like everything's sweet while both engines, and the captain says, don't worry, we still got one engine. I'm like, what the fuck did he say? Your blood pressure goes straight up.
Everyone goes, what?
But you hear one creak in the wing of the fucking vehicle, you're like, oh, oh. And we're about to suffer some turbulence. Not on one fucking engine, we're not, you cunt. I mean, I have to ask, really I do, the timing matters. I mean, massively it does. The timing really does matter. Why say it now? Because leaders only make statements like that when doubt is growing. When the backbenchers are clearly having a conversation and Keir Starmer and his team are not in the conversation and they fucking know it.
They're sat there going, we need to reassure the public. We have the majority backing. The majority backing's only a bench post, dude.
Nobody says everyone still likes me unless they know people are asking if they do. I mean, seriously, that's the kind of cheerleader shit you see in fucking...
When you ask people, oh, do you like me? Yeah, of course I do. There's that other thought. Not really. I'm just saying it because you're paying my paycheck.
Politics is brutal on weakness. And this is probably one of the most weak headlines I've ever heard of a Prime Minister making. Like, Boris Johnson made this same thing. 𝐿 May made those same things. And both of them went out the fucking door within months of those statements.
They did.
They are on death knolls. Absolute fucking death knolls. I mean, the scene of weakness, the scent of weakness is unreal. And it's spreading fast. It's like fucking sharks. Yeah. I mean, what do voters hear when they hear that? Now, Westminster might have numbers and factions. But ordinary voters have something simple. Instability. It is. Everyone knows Keir Starmer's dead in 2 weeks. Everybody. Everybody knows Keir Starmer is dead wood in 2 weeks. It doesn't... Let's be hypothetical. Let's say out of the fucking goodness of our country's heart, they only vote Conservative, Green, Liberal Democrats, and Nigel Farage's dirty monster in the corner doesn't rise its head. That's my positive reaction. We know Labour is fucked. Labour is fucked. Labour is going to lose every council seat it's got.
I think it's going to go mostly Green and Lib Dem.
I don't. I think it's going to quite frighteningly, and it irritates me, but I think Nigel Farage is like a fucking cancer. He might pop up. If it goes Green Lib Dem, I will be ecstatic. That will be the best choice between Britain as a punch in the nose of a Labour government. Absolutely fantastic result that would be. Where we've made the decision as a country to smack the Prime Minister and his cabinet around the face because we've voted in the Liberal Democrats and the Greens in multiple councils, and we've kicked the Conservatives because they've done us for 14 years, and we don't like Nigel Farage because he's a Nazi cunt. That's what we call a Sean and Chris AAA 7th of May election. That's the best. We know that ain't gonna happen. Okay, we're not that fucking naive.
It's what we would like to happen.
We put our wish list up on the table, and we know it's not going to come out.
See, we want this, but you know it's probably going to be a three-way split.
I think, if I'm predicting 7th of May, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's predict 7th of May. We're going to see a surge of Green.
Green's going to come up through the rankings
of Labour. They're going to eat Labour's heart out.
It's going to come up through the rankings for the better part of Green in absolute. I think since the party started.
Yeah.
The highest
they're going to do brilliantly. Lib Dems are going to do okay.
I reckon Green and Lib Dems are one's going to be above the other.
Green are going to win that out of the three of them. We've got Green coming up on top, on the sensible side. You're going to have the Lib Dems.
Just below it.
The Conservatives are going to be dripping somewhere in those ratings, and much to my chagrin, I suspect the Reform will take a huge chunk out of that as a realism. If Labour now second scenario, Reforms is a lot smaller, Green is smaller, Lib Dem is smaller, Conservative slightly larger, Labour has held on. Now that's still positive in my opinion, because it means the country hasn't entirely abandoned the Labour Party. If Labour takes the 7th of May wipeout, they lose every council seat, Keir Starmer is dead in the water. Stone cold dead in the water. Like his career's over. You'd expect an announcement the next day if he'd lost every council. There's 157 councils up for vote, which is about 2,000-3,000 council seats. He loses all of those, he's fucked. Fucked beyond belief.
I reckon it's going to be I say three weeks, but it's going to be three main parties. It's going to be Lib Dem, Green, should I say Green, Lib Dem, then it's either going to be Labour holding on to seats, or it's going to be...
The cons and Reforms tearing out.
It's going to be Conservative taking up the other bit. Reform, as much as some people say, oh, yeah, when it actually comes down to voting day, I know most people are going to turn around and look at everything properly, or at least a glance.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah. And then realise, no. If we want to keep blue, we're going to have to stay with Conservative.
They think that when you're talking about yourselves and our bills, Chris, and the services are stretched and nothing feels fixed, the natural disagreement here is that Labour, after 2 years, hasn't solved the problems. I feel stretched in the pocket. I know you do. The cost of our fucking motors are starting to eat into our pockets quite badly. Rachel Reeves, the bitch, has taken a fucking absolute chunk out of our pocket. And I don't care about swearing. I mean, some people will take me as caustic, and I am. But sometimes politicians need to be told, you cunts. You're taking the fucking piss out of the working class.
The one thing that's actually bugged me the most about Labour is they turn and go, oh yeah, we'll control the tax. You've risen tax.
Tax has gone up everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely everywhere.
So that ain't control.
Now, admittedly, there is some fucking black holes that the Tories have left us in. We have had COVID, we've had a Brexit. We need to go back to Europe. I know that angers many of you who want to talk about...
I want to go back into the EU market.
We have to go back in the market, and whatever that costs, we've got to pay it.
Yeah. The EU market is my main goal. Yeah. If I was to...
Because that will lower everyone's fucking pockets.
I would also turn around, and due to the current oil crisis, drill in the fucking north, make a deal with Russia, then turn around and make a deal with the EU to get back into the EU market, and I'll give them a decent deal on selling them oil from the north. Because that is the most sensible business idea plan.
That's how you fix the country very, very quickly.
That's how you stabilise Europe, stabilise yourself, tell America to fuck off, tell the Middle East to fuck off, and make a lovely deal with your neighbour Russia.
Fucking brutal honesty, Chris.
Yeah,
absolutely brutal.
I'm sorry, but Russia was part of the European central things before America turned around and stuck their nose in and said Russia was bad.
Yeah. Russia was an ally of the European powers for centuries.
Yeah, the
royal family in Russia were related to our royal family before the revolutions.
So literally, bullshit. That idea of frigging Russia's bad. Russia ain't bad. Russia's just trying to protect itself.
And its own self-interest, which you can understand why the war in the fucking Ukraine happened. And let's be clear about this. Everyone who keeps championing Zelensky, I need to say that man is crooked. That man is fucking bent as an iron bomb.
The moment I heard that he was lined up or being financed via Israel and the Americans. I'm sorry, they're all...
You don't trust that fucker a minute. Oh, that's the people you stay in bed with, is it?
The moment you're like, hang on a fucking minute. The moment that name, that group starts floating around a certain name, you're like, that's who you've made a deal with, haven't we?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, to get back on Starmer's claim that everything's all right, He's trying to shut down stories of the weakness of his rulership, and it's doing the complete opposite. He's trying to say that he's not weak in public, and
when he says everything's all right on what? What, the fact that he has stellar control, or the fact that everything's all right in the UK? All right, let's get it, because on both fronts, that's a ball-ass lie. Because he ain't in control, because he's only got majority holdership.
No, I wouldn't even say that. Yeah. I'd say 55% of his party.
That's majority holdership, which means basically he's reached the bench post. He's reached the bench post, yeah? Which means the other parts are like, no, fuck you. And regarding the fact that the UK is frigging okay, bullshit, everything's gone up in price.
The country's struggling.
The country's struggling. You're meant to be at least a semi-decent foreign secretary, and you haven't even fucking turned around and made a deal with the frigging oils to secure all the fucking future of Britain.
The problem being is, Chris, if the Prime Minister admits that he has to go talk to Putin, he's then going to have to admit all the dirty shit he's done. You see, one of the critical problems is when it comes towards the Russians, is they're not going to make a deal with somebody who's been supplying commandos, aiding the Ukrainian rebels and the Ukrainian ethno-cleansers. Remember, the Ukrainians, before this war kicked off, Chris, before it kicked off, remember, the Ukrainians had SS units. They had literal fucking units that were known for ethnically cleansing the Russians, considering the Russians to be non-Ukrainian, because they considered Ukraine to be an Austrian-based society. So Putin's claims aren't entirely false. There is a great deal of acronym behind it.
It's just ridiculous.
I know. And people don't really want to sit there and even actually have a conversation about it. Come on, for fuck's sake, do that. The 𝐼𝐸 Brigade, or the 𝐼𝐸 Battalion Regiment, or the 12th Special Forces Brigade, 𝐼𝐸, is a prominent unit in the National Guard of the Ukrainians that has been heavily involved in Russo-Ukrainian wars since 2014. Formed in 2014 by volunteers, militia, to fight Russian-backed forces in Mariupol. It was formally incorporated into the National Guard of Ukraine on November the 11th, 2024, becoming a professional military unit. It's expanded in 2023. In February 2023, the Ministry of Internal Affairs announced the expansion into a brigade known as the 12th Special Forces Brigade 𝐼𝐸. It has done multiple attacks on Russian families. It is the real bedrock. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, it is Googleable news that Vladimir Putin isn't making up. This is news you can find online. You can ask about the 𝐼𝐸 Battalion. You can ask the reasons behind it. This is a very clear-cut understanding that the West can't cover up the anti-fucking Russian rhetoric that comes out of the 𝐼𝐸 Battalion. That is the reason that the Ukrainians have been pressuring and damaging and harming the Russian-speaking parts of Ukraine to force them to acknowledge what was a stolen election. Remember, the previous president fled.
He was pushed out.
Yeah, no. He fled his country. Before Zelensky came to power, he fled. Because of the riots, because of the commandos, because of the fucking, the terrorists, yeah? The American-backed fucking CIA terrorists, which the 𝐼𝐸 are one of them. Because it doesn't say how the 𝐼𝐸 were formed. That's a very important factor. How was the 𝐼𝐸 formed? Who paid for its formations? Why was it formed? It says it was there to fight the volunteer militias in Russia, in Mariupol. I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second. Because there's so little that we know that's going on involving what's been said from the Western side. But we know very little of what the Russian side has said. And the accusations of neo-Nazism aren't baseless. Western journalists have made these conversations. But it's been downplayed by Western media. And if you have Nazi units, why do you need Nazi units? What are you doing to the... Because I consider the Ukrainian Russians to be as Ukrainian as the Ukrainians Austrians. There's just two different groups of tribes. Welsh and English are still the same people in the UK. Irish and Scots live in the UK. We have British Pakistanis, they live in the UK. They are all part of the same nation. I don't prescribe this ideological insanity where you need a Nazi fucking unit. And it's important to mention this because it brings you back to the perspective of 2014 on why this conflict behaved. where it came from, why Vladimir Putin felt that he had to intervene. And then the West's behaviour, fueling ammunition, weapons, commandos. We've sent fucking men over there to train them in the battlefields directly on our weapons. So you can get why Putin will not have a deal with anything Starmer has. Starmer can't cut a deal because the fucker has knifed the Russians in the chest. He has to go. So does the entirety of those who have done America's bidding in the Ukrainian conflict.
So we need the new person in charge to turn around and make a deal with the Russians.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the only way change is going to happen. And naturally, frigging budget Dorito ain't going to like that at all.
When it comes towards, he doesn't. He loves Russia. That's the scary. That's the fact. Remember, we're talking prior to this, Chris.
Yeah.
We are talking Joe Biden era. The slimy internationalists. They're the ones responsible for the Ukrainian war, and credit given to the budget Dorito. We're going to always use that. Credit given to the budget Dorito. Oh, for reference, we're not talking about the budget Dorito's most recent assassination attempt because we just don't think it's important enough to UK politics.
It's just another attempt. They tried first time, failed. Tried
if they actually successfully shoot the cunt and actually hurt him more than a fucking ear, I might give it some more daylight time. But it really doesn't matter. As far as
that doesn't mean that you should go out and do it.
I refuse to consign my colleague here. As far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump is a narcissistic waste of space, and whoever wishes to embrace the freedom of America, by all means, knock yourselves out.
You open up yourself to a very
complicated
matter there.
Nah. It's the land of revolutionists and fucking civil rights workers. Yeah, the Martin Luther King generations. There are good people in America. Good, honest Americans trying to do honest work. Yeah? They want to get rid of their commander in chief.
What they decide to do in their own country is their business,
yes.
not ours.
Yeah. I'll give Chris that.
Yeah. But we're not promoting it, and we're not suggesting it, and we're not enforcing it. What you do is on your own back. Let's get that straight. Protecting your ass, you fucking cunt.
I ain't going to get a knock on the door of the CIA. They ain't going to come looking for some nobody like me.
Don't underestimate the CIA.
They got bigger fucking fish to fry than me. So, next question is, who inside Labour is actually restless? And how dangerous is the unrest?
I reckon they're all getting fed up, and soon it's just going to be a revolt in the party.
I think May the 7th is going to be the watershed for our Prime Minister.
I know the fuse has already been lit.
Yeah.
It's a case of what stage is it going to blow up? I reckon the May the 7th election is going to speed up the fuse.
Oh no, absolutely. If he has 50, where he talks about he has the majority, is it 51% or is it 60%? That's a really fucking massive kind of difference.
Yeah.
Because if it's 51%, at May the 7th, he loses. He is done. If it's 60%, he has a little bit of wiggle room. Very little.
Very little.
Silent backing is not enthusiasm. I can tell you that now. And fear of altercation is also a problem. A majority can exist without loyalty. I mean...
Yeah. That's correct, because the majority can exist without loyalty, because the fact is a case of, I want my paycheck.
A majority can keep you in office, it can't make you powerful. And I don't think he has the voice of his party anymore. I think he's lost it. I think he's lost his ability to talk to his party or uphold any kind of real...
Hence the reason why I think he's only got majority, because of the fact most of them are hanging in there for the paycheck.
I think they're waiting to see what happens on May the 7th, to be honest. I mean,
it could be a combination of both. See what happens on May the 7th, plus the fact I want to keep my paycheck as long as possible.
I mean, the possible tensions we've got in Labour at the moment is the left is absolutely unhappy. The left of Labour is fucking hates his guts. And let's just put this, let's break this into what we are. Let's break this down. The left of Labour absolutely hates his guts. And they help lift Labour into this massive majority. The centrists are worried about the competency. He's not being competent. Me and you are art, so, well, I'm an art centrist, you're more slightly right centralist.
Yeah.
But we're centralists. Competency would be nice. He can make some blunders if the fucker is competent. He's not. He's just not.
Competence is a case of, right, I'm pursuing this plan. I want to do this plan because, in fact, I believe this plan would work. But when the plan goes wrong, turns around, goes, okay, wrong decision, I will correct it and sort it out.
That's competency.
That's competency.
Not, even with mistakes.
Yeah, even with mistakes. It's, whoopsie, made the wrong choice, I will correct it. That's taking accountability.
I think the new MPs are the ones that are worried the most, though, because they have the greatest to lose. Their seats haven't been there. They're not well welded to their communities. The communities don't know their faces.
They're still building their base.
I mean, do you know your current local MP? From your
No.
No, nor do I. I mean, I know of him, but I don't know him. That's the difference. And ministerial frustration privately is absolutely clear. I mean, it's impossible for them to hide this now. The ministers themselves are going to be furious because it's not going forward. They haven't lost the Peter Mandelson saga that is going on and on and on.
How the hell did the PM survive that?
Honestly, because I think he's incompetent. Do you understand? It wasn't like it was a competence ability for him to fix the problem, because if he was competent, he'd have fixed it.
Basically, you're saying he's Ollie
Robinson would have been fired months ago.
Yeah.
If they'd known what he'd done. Because they'd have driven that as a wedge under the table. I think that Lord Madelson's right-hand chummy, McSweeney, was responsible for pressuring, because you heard about the pressure that's going on in the Home Office. So the Home Office has had this pressure going on. I think McSweeney was one. He's getting the job. He's the one in the back room giving them fucking earache, not the ministers. And I think it's entirely believable that dozy fucking bollock Keir Starmer, oh, everything's okay, because he doesn't know what's going on behind him. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's the case. That's the case around it, Chris.
You literally just reinforced one point. You're basically saying he dodged the bullet because he's stupid.
Yes, yeah. The reason we still have one alternative, there isn't really a real good alternative for the Labour Party right now.
I was going to say, that's to be quite honest, that's probably the only way he actually did survive. Sorry, Starmer, but you're dumb.
Not everyone wants him gone at the moment. Many of them want him to get stronger, better, and correct his mistakes.
Is that because of the fact he's done... try not to give him too much credit. He has done some decent deals regarding foreign side.
Yeah. We have to credit the Prime Minister. We have had some decent trade deals. We're getting back in bed with Europe. Things are looking a little positive, and he's kept that nutcase budget Dorito at arm's fucking length.
Arm's length? I would have kept him at the end of a fucking 20-foot plus pole.
There is that. Sometimes parties don't rebel because they hate their leader. They rebel because they fear their voters, which is very true. At the moment, no one knows. So everyone's holding onto their seat until they see what happens on the 7th of May. I think because we're 2 weeks away, Chris, you won't see a rebellion before then. Come the results after 7th of May, I think it's going to be a bloodbath.
And the fact that he's just dodged the bullet with Madelson.
He's dodged the bullet with Madelson because he's incompetent.
No, I think because he's dodged that bullet, I think he's going to lose far more than what they're thinking.
Yeah, no, that's entirely possible. Because of the Madelson saga has been out all over our papers.
Because the fact it's been everywhere. Everyone's pissed off about it. No repercussions have happened because of it.
No, the civil servants are fucking gone. McSweeney's
gone. I mean, it's been regarding Starmer. He hasn't been warned I would have sacked the foreign secretary over this. Has the foreign secretary been sacked?
No.
See,
I would take a political head over this.
Yeah.
But I think the reason he hasn't is he's so weak he can't upset his own cabinet. Who in the cabinet is the allies to the Home Secretary? You see, that's the thing that people don't realise.
I still would have took the hit. Because if anything, that would have showed a surge of...
Shaboul Mamoun is considered quite popular amongst the centralists, Chris, because she's willing to actually tackle the immigration problems. She's taken because remember, they're Labour, they're quite left-leaning.
Yeah.
And she's taken a very hard stance on the migration problems in the UK. So she's quite popular with us centralists. The centre of the country realises that she's actually trying to fix the problem. I think that her being the Home Secretary, her head should have rolled when Peter Madelson's shit came out. It's too late now. I think it's entirely too late now. her and the Foreign Secretary should have gone with Peter Mandelson shit because they didn't investigate enough. Because it's the duty of the Secretary of the State and the Foreign Officer to see if there's problems with the civil servants. So if they hadn't, I would have fired them straight away. You know, Prime Minister John, Chancellor Bailey, the Foreign Secretary and the UK Secretary of State has told me basically, we didn't know that this was a problem. Why haven't you asked the fucking civil servants? They're in your department. You're the one who answers them. I want an answer by the weekend. I don't get one. They're both fired. There's your political head on the paper. Decisiveness. Problem solved.
Yeah, but you don't want to know if me and you were freaking in charge, Madison would have got a freaking seat anyway.
No, because you'd have heard a whisper. You'd have heard a whisper and slid straight down that fucking line. 50, 60 civil servants. Who said that? Says Christopher. You speak to me. Oh, really? No, John, fucking no.
That's what I mean. Would have been vetted. What's this rumour? Thorough investigation. Bring it. Now.
It's not even like it's someone fucking minor. It's the UK ambassador to America. If it was Paraguay, Chris might even have let that slide. He probably wouldn't.
No.
How we need our diplomats. But you know, someone like Paraguay or St. Kitts, some tiny country that's got less than 100,000 fucking people. Chris would go, what was that rumour? Kiddie fiddling Epstein? No, it's an ambassador. No, I don't care, it's nowhere. No. Kiddie fiddler? No. Nowhere near my fucking government. And of course, it's Paraguay. You know, I probably wouldn't even fucking know who the ambassador of Paraguay is. Chris says, I don't care who his mate is. It's fucking dangerous. He's an ambassador. I do. I genuinely think. I think one of the reasons that the Shabana Mahmood hasn't lost her job, and the Foreign Secretary, is purely because he's too weak to be able to fire them. When the Lord Madison stuff started.
The moment that stuff would have popped up, I would have made heads roll.
You would have been told, everybody involved, and remember, 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿, she's the Foreign Secretary. She's one of the fucking power players in the Labour Party right now. So if she'd been sacked for the actions of her office, that could have brought down his whole government. So you can understand why. 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 is a slimy political force. And she's been in politics a while now, mate. Yeah, she's not to be fucked around with lightly. She's been Secretary of the State for the Home Department, Home Office.
It depends whether you got the balls to, though. And you know, for fact, I would. I wouldn't care.
True. But Chris, we wouldn't be in a situation where someone like Lord Madison would get a fucking US ambassador.
No.
Anybody going to US, China or Russia would have the Chancellor who wants to make deals with these people vetting them. Did they pass vetting? I'm asking you to your face, did they pass it? Like, they're the top three. India, number 4. You're going to have to list them. You have the civil servants in front of you. I want to know. Anybody fuck around with their vetting? They're even a whisper. I want to know the whisper. His daughter was dating someone who's a bit dodgy. I might consider saying no to the guy. You know? His daughter was fucking a gangster. No, he's out. And that's just because his daughter was fucking a gangster. We're not even getting to anything else. Fucking kiddie fiddler.
You would have heard me scream, don't you bloody dare, from all the way down the line.
I'd have responded, what do you mean, don't you dare? No, that fucking Madelson's going nowhere near politics. I don't care that your boy McSweeney's friends with him. You're fired. You're fired. I can hear my boy from fucking 30 fucking civil servants away saying, your man fucking McSweeney, you're telling me Lord Madelson's a kiddie fiddler. You're fired for even mentioning that cunt's name near me. We Muslims get so much fucking stick, you think for a second I'd have anybody remotely related towards a fucking goddamn paedophile anywhere near my fucking cabinet. With the shit we Muslims get for our Prophet, peace and blessings upon him. You're on a fucking smoking end if you think I'd have a real, genuine life friend of a paedophile anywhere near our cabinet. A'udhu billah. I mean, the policies feel inward and looking away. That they feel like that they're always inward looking and they're not solving our problems in today's. We've got enormous NHS pressure. The cost of living is still fucking hurting, even after COVID.
Still rising.
Yeah?
What you
yeah.
want?
When politicians discuss party numbers, voters ask why not one in discussing their numbers.
Oh yeah, as you said, obviously with the cost of living, little topic, which I read, due to the stuff going on in Iran, apparently mobile companies are having issues with energy supply and going to start rationing out signal and data.
That is again a doomsday scenario position.
I was literally like, what the hell? How can he turn around and say that? Because I swear that breaches their contracts.
It probably does, and this is why it's a doomsday scenario position. It's to do with what they're legally capable of doing. I mean, internal politics is what we're seeing a lot of the Labour right now, is when people are struggling externally to deal with the problems we've got outside. So the internal politics is a luxury. They don't have this luxury. They are literally getting a kicking from every direction. I genuinely feel that Labour has fucked us badly as a country. Especially in the last 2 years. I mean, I give them 4 or 5 months kind of grace period, Chris. But with the wages not feeling stronger, policies feeling inward looking again, immigration is still a major fucking concern. Even though Shabu Mamoon is doing well, I think she's doing well. Many leftists hate me for just saying that. She's trying to fix a problem in a fucking left-leaning government.
She's heading in the right direction, shall we say?
Yeah.
To actually turn around and controlling immigration, because I think that's the key here. In fact, most people are trying, we need to stop it, we need to stop. No, it's not about stopping, it's about controlling it.
Yeah.
Because of the fact, if you try stopping it, the illegal side will just escalate.
Yeah.
So you need to control it better. You turn around and start, putting little embassies in Spain, France, all up literally
fixing the fucking mistakes the Tories made.
Sticking little embassies all the way across up the European side of us, just all the way up.
Me and Chris have made this kind of conversations multiple times. Are you richer or poorer since you left the EU? Has immigration improved? If those two things are false, why did you vote to leave on a lie? And it's a very straightforward thing. We need to replace what was damaged by Boris bloody Johnson and Theresa May. Fucking hell.
Head of lettuce.
That's the problem. Did you hear? Head of lettuce started mouthing off about the Labour Party just recently.
Oh, head of lettuce, go stick her right back in the fucking ground.
That woman has no business talking about politics. You didn't even last that of a fucking lettuce. How dare you?
Even last a year.
No, literal head of lettuce. I think it's like 30, 60 fucking days, Chris.
It's because it's not even 3 fucking months.
That woman has no business talking about politics. None whatsoever. In any way, shape or form. The woman almost crashed the fucking market in its entirety. I think the problem we got with our Prime Minister currently is he's too marginalised, too cautious, too scripted, hard to inspire loyalty.
He's trying to play the safe game.
And he's not. He's not.
He's trying to play the safe game and he's failing.
Very much so. I mean, I personally think that his leadership skills are incredibly weak. I wouldn't be inspired to be part of his cabinet. I wouldn't work for him, to be honest. I'd be one of the conniving knives on the outside because you could smell the weakness on Keir Starmer. Like it fucking stinks.
I'll be the one going in for his position.
So I was like, you can smell it. Winning power and holding authority are two very different skills. And a sustained government is just, our government doesn't feel sustained. What he needs to do is regain control, strongly announce party discipline delivery, slow the fucking erosion, leaks, briefing, nervous MPs. The sudden rupture, major policy failures or scandals triggered by open challenges need to be scaled back. He needs to show leadership. And he's not. And he's failed that one major test. He got them elected because everyone was saying, anyone but Tory. We weren't inspired by you, Keir Starmer. Let's be quite frank about that. We voted for Labour to get fucking rid of the Tories. All right? 14 years, it was a shit show. And I really do feel bad for Rishi Sunak because I thought he was a really good Prime Minister. When you look back, I know many people find that quite offensive, but I'm being serious here. In comparison to the shit shows we had beforehand,
he was starting to slowly regain control.
He was starting to fix the country,
yeah.
And then he called for an election. And I think I understand why, because he knew the country was ragingly angry. I think that Keir Starmer's time in office is probably done. I think it will be over in 2 weeks. I think we'll get to May the 7th, and the next day, maybe the day after, you'll be tuned into our podcast when we do that anyway, because our next episode is going to be our special. After this one airs on this Thursday coming, I fundamentally stand by the principal position the Prime Minister will not be in power by the end of May. If the May election is a disaster, if he holds on to say even a quarter of his seats, he might linger. If he's a wipeout, he's dead in the water. He needs to hold about a third of the seats he's got just to stave off his own party stabbing him, politically speaking.
Even that's a shout at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that is a shout for him to pull off.
Yeah.
I have some questions to ask the audience. I do hope many of you get to this position. Do you think Starmer is secure or slipping? Is Labour's governing well or wasting goodwill? If MPs are restless now, what happens in a year? They won't make that year. Does having the majority still matter if you've lost your momentum? These are the questions I've asked you mid-podcast before I hand over to my colleague here on his points. And I want you to give some serious thought to these questions, because I feel that they're necessary for us to start engaging our watchers in some serious discord. But that's me, Chris. That's me and my is Keir Starmer still leading? No.
Mine tails off nicely from that subject, because in fact, obviously, my lovely subject is whether lowering the UK voting age to 16, whether it would be a benefit or a disaster.
Ooh.
Yeah. The reason I'm discussing this today is I'm literally just going to read you the headline, which tagged my eye, and I thought this is a good one because it leads off from his quite nicely. Obviously, I do apologise to the source, but I thought it was a catchy headline. It is from the Daily Mail, so it is a bit right wing, but it's a very good question, a very good statement. Lowering voting age to 16 will only help the Green Party, Labour MPs tell Starmer.
You see, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, hence the reason why I thought it's good bounce off to discuss whether it's advantage or not of whether a lowering the voting age.
There's no maximum age to voting at the moment, Chris.
Yeah.
So no, let's get into this. There is no maximum age to voting. So everybody who is in the retirement homes all have the privilege to vote, even though they don't pay tax anymore. The 16-year-olds can get part-time jobs, pay tax. I want something different. I don't think lowering the voting age is necessary. I think the voting age needs to be abolished. If you pay tax, you have a right to vote.
I think there is another argument to that, but we'll discuss that.
I think if you're paying tax, you have a right to vote. And if you're part-time school leaver who is working part-time, you have a right to vote.
I could definitely get that, because I'm thinking on...
Because you're contributing to society.
It is along those, because I think if this goes ahead, I think it's a change in the right direction of who should vote. Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's rephrase it that way, because obviously at certain points, unfortunately, the older generation may not quite be fully there or understand something, but then you could turn around and say that about the youngsters as well.
Yeah, of course.
But
I think if you're able to be taxed, if you're paying a tax code, you are contributing to society, therefore you have a right to a voice in society.
This is literally what we're going to discuss now. So obviously, the one thing, the first point is fairness and consistency. Fairness and consistency with existing rights. Many argue it is inconsistent that 16-year-olds can work, pay taxes, marry, and join the armed forces, yet cannot vote. Supporters say political rights should match those responsibilities. That's literally along the point that he was just saying.
Yeah. I think we need to remove the idea of an age, because if you've retired, you're no longer paying tax. Therefore, you're no longer contributing to society. Therefore, you should not have a voting age. And this is why I fundamentally disagree with companies who have reduced their taxes to non-existence and yet have enormous influence in our electoral system.
That's a very valid point. Obviously, builds lifelong voting habits. Research cited by the Institute of the Government suggests that voting early helps establish long-term democratic practice, making young people more likely to vote throughout adulthood.
I fundamentally think it won't benefit the Greens as much as Labour is frightened.
I think
I've had a lot of conversations with younger generations, especially those that are school leavers, from where I work. And they said if they had a choice to vote, they might not necessarily vote Green. Some of them want to vote Liberal Democrat. Some of them want to vote Labour to try and fix Labour. And there are a large group of youths who do want to vote Conservative because they feel that the values of Britain are built around the Conservative Party. So it's not as clear cut as they think it is. And maybe that's because I come from a very conservative area of Gloucestershire. So that might be the fact they're river beaten by their families. Yeah.
You do. Obviously, I do think it will help build more better voting habits, because the fact is the earlier in the game, the earlier you learn, the earlier you understand. Which then leads on to the next one, better civic education. The UK government plans to strengthen citizenship education, making it compulsory in primary schools and improving democratic literacy. This means that 16-year-olds may be better prepared to vote than many adults.
That's interesting. I don't necessarily.
I do reckon I reckon it should be a topic that's covered in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Not necessarily at the very start of school.
No, it's definitely something that teenagers should be talking about.
I would say like the last year, 2 years.
Engaging the children in politics is absolutely necessary, because mine and your generation are very apathetical.
Yeah. I would say, if anything, I would say if they would introduce it into the education system, I'd say 1 class a month.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would.
1 class a month in the last 2 years, because then tie that in with.
But I believe that they should be taught about banking. I believe they should be taught about credit.
I literally just said economics
and taxes.
Yeah. So if you
because we won't talk about taxes. I learnt taxes from my dad. I learnt nothing about taxes.
I learnt taxes by myself.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the conversation.
I would say that because if we're going to do political stuff, we do economics as well. So 2 lessons a month, 1 political, 1 economics. That sets you up for when you step into the workforce.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're not being.
It doesn't have to be in massive detail. It's covering the basics, giving them a nice, strong foundation to build upon. I reckon that's absolutely essential going forward. And I know this is going to upset the woke community, but I think it'll actually make the people think of the actions that they're actually doing rather than other things as well. I'm not saying the stuff that you do is wrong or anything else, but I think it'll give you a better understanding of the consequences of your actions within the political sphere.
They don't understand consequences.
Yeah.
None of the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas have any idea of consequences.
Hence the reason why I reckon the economics and political things just once a month in the last 2 years is covered in school.
And college. I'd do it in college too. I'd put a bigger focus on college, to be honest.
Make it an A level. Actually, I think it already is. I think economics already is an A level.
Yeah, economics is an A level.
And politics. Yeah,
I think they should be mandatory things that should be discussed.
Yeah. And obviously, it gives young people a voice on issues that affect them. I think that's actually necessary, because of the fact, obviously, we're dealing with current issues that affect us today and until we retire. So why can't the younger generation have
the same education in school and talk about it now? Have
a voice of what's going to affect them in their future.
Their future is the reason me and Chris got into podcasting. I mean, let's be quite frank about this. I've got nieces and nephews I want to leave a better Britain for. Chris and me still have ambitions to have families ourselves. And in those ambitionable positions, we want a Britain that works for everyone. Yeah, we're an inclusive kind of people. I think it needs to be said out loud that British politics is a fucking mess, and people need to be willing to tackle that mess. And the lack of tackling that mess is our problem. Britain has gotten so fucking apathetical. when discussing politics, discussing the age of children. And I don't, as I said, I don't necessarily think an age 16 for children is such a bad idea. I think it should be raped around, as we said, taxation.
I'm going to say, literally, the next one is obviously the international president. Austria, Brazil, Argentina, Malta already allow 16s to vote, and it's already showing how it can work effectively.
Yeah. Austria has an incredibly stable democracy.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm surprised Brazil's on that list.
Yeah, no. The Brazilians like to have very clear goals for their leaders because they're such a large country.
Yeah.
Remember, every woman in Brazil has like 10 billion babies.
I say, like, Brazil and Malta, I wouldn't even peg them to be on that list. The other, like Austria and Argentina, yes, I can understand, but Brazil and Malta, and showing it can work. I think that's nothing but a lovely thing, but that's obviously the positive side. Then we come on to the disadvantages.
Yeah, there are some. I'm sure there are.
Yeah. Also, I know the number one thing which most people are going to turn around and bring up is obviously maturity and life experience.
I don't think that's as important as the principle that if you pay tax, you should have representation.
I've got a counterpoint to that, because if you teach it in school, that gives them maturity and some essential basic experience to step out into the workforce. Yeah. So I've just rebutted that point.
No, and I agree. I think if you build your society around taxation, there grants you representation, you erase a lot of the filth that goes on in Parliament right now, because parliamentary conglomerates and I know we're going on a tangent here, but the thing that gets me right now, and I am going to go out and I'm going to address this, is fucking lobbying. We need to take an episode where we talk about lobbying in the UK, because it's a horrific level. And it's not just the worst parts, as many people would like to say, which is the Israeli lobbyists, the Russian lobbyists, the European lobbyists. Green have lobbyists. Yeah? Green has its own lobbies. Lobbying is disgusting. It's bribery. It's organised bribery. That's what lobbying is.
Illegal bribery.
It's completely legal. Yeah. I'm not saying it's illegal. It's completely legal, but it's fucking bribery. That's the end of the conversation. And it's disgusting. And anybody doing it should be fucking fired.
Obviously, another disadvantage is uneven political education. Even though reforms are planned, critics argue that the current political education is inconsistent, meaning many teenagers may not have yet been equipped to make informed choices. But then we just turned around and argued that already. Teach it in school. I'm sure there's a couple of subjects that don't need to be mandatory within the last couple of years, which you can turn around and replace with stuff that's practical for life experience and to build on. Obviously, then there's obviously the fears of political manipulation. Some critics claim lowering the voting age could be used for party political advantage, with accusations of gerrymandering aimed at parties believed to benefit from younger voters. I can see that, because that's exactly what Labour's doing now, placing like a fear-mongering effect. The fact that Green could turn around and benefit, they're naturally going to benefit, but I don't think it's
the Greens are going to benefit from a very weak Labour leader. I think that's indicative
I was literally going to say, the Greens will benefit at the moment, not from people voting from the age of 16, but due to Labour's inconsistency. And someone's
I wanted to make very, very clear that much of what we speak about here is from our own experiences, our own frustrations, our own social anxieties. Me and Chris work in this amongst the general populace. We are not making 100 grand each. When we get there, that'll be the day. Yeah, soon, my bro, soon. Yeah. Thank you very much for all the 2,000 subscribers we have, and for many more that will come on. But we are not. These policies, these problems, these headlines, they are affecting me and Chris. They affect us because we're part of this society. And I don't think I'll ever lose that kind of interpretable position where I care about where I come from. Because in the hypothetical situation, no, not hypothetical, me and Chris are going to do it. We're going to make it as podcasters. When me and Chris make it as podcasters, Because we're making it in such a later stage of our life, there's no way we can forget where we came from 30 years prior. Because we're about that grind life. We're about that grind life. So what I'm trying to get at is these problems, they affect us. They affect me, they affect Chris, they affect our families, they affect the people of our generation. And we need them to be addressed. And we need people to engage. And I think one of the biggest problems being Christian fighting is the apathy here in the UK. There is a monstrous level of fucking political apathy. Oh, I don't need to worry about it till I get to the election box. No, that's some serious fucking dangerous shit.
That's negligence.
Your democracy withers and dies if you do not nurture it. Apathy is worse than death in many, many ways. Apathy is the complete lack of interest at solving your democratic problems. And these are very real democratic problems. I think lowering the voting age to 16 isn't all upon itself a bad thing. I think giving unresponsible teenagers with no concept of life, without understanding the grind of taxes and society and what it means to earn a living, the right to vote is the problem. I don't think a fresh out of a classroom school kid, 16, living at home playing video games with his mum, has any business voting. And I know that sounds horrible, but I'm being honest here. But the 16-year-old that goes and does a Sunday work and Saturday work and pays attention to what they're doing in their job sites and pays attention to how everyone else works, they have a right because they are contributing to their society. So when you criticise me talking about the 16-year-olds, make sure you criticise it correctly. I believe in contributional-based society. If you're contributing, you have a voice.
It's like most things.
Your view?
It's along similar path, but also I'll address other like concerns with regards to disadvantages before I make of anything. Obviously, point we just covered before we went on off that slight tangent was obviously fears of political manipulation, which obviously
I think they're unfounded. I think the younger generation are quite smart, Chris.
Yeah, but hence the reason why I said if you teach it in school, that eliminates that because it gives them a good basic.
I don't think you can get widespread manipulation in that regard.
Obviously, limited impact on turnout. Research suggests 16 to 17-year-olds make up such a small share of the electoral, that their overall impact may be minimal, raising questions about whether the reform is worth the administration effort. Why not? Because if I remember correctly, that small vote can swing the decision on who runs.
Yeah, absolutely. And more importantly, it's inclusive to society.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be more inclusive.
Everyone then feels they've had their voice heard.
I think that critique is a bit weak.
Yeah. Obviously, data protection and safeguarding issues. Registering minors requires stricter data controls, and the government acknowledges they need special safeguards to protect young voters' information. Oh. Then improve your frigging security, you dumbass.
That's lazy.
Yeah.
That critique is lazy because it tells me, oh, we haven't done the legwork, let's use it as a critique.
Put in the work and actually get it done.
Yeah.
Obviously, my lovely summary on this is the fact of, I believe, lowering the age to 16 is on the right path. So obviously making it more fair for everybody, raising concerns not just from the older generation, middle generation, but also the younger generation, because all of us should have a say, especially the ones that pay tax.
I think anybody who isn't paying tax should not have, and I certainly don't believe companies should have the kind of influence they do over politics.
But I also believe the fact that if you want to improve everybody's understanding of politics, and including economics as well, you need to teach it from secondary school.
And I think maybe you do need a competency test in the old people's homes if they want to keep their votes. They've got to be cognitive and be able to understand policies and understand how those policies will affect.
It
sounds a bit Darwinian, mind you.
Obviously, there is that concern, but you can then also turn around and say that upon the younger people. Hence the reason why I think along lines of, as you said, if you pay tax, you get to vote.
Yeah.
Just the fact, then that solves the issue of competency and everything else.
Yeah.
If somebody's going to work and paying tax and contributing, that means they're competent immediately straight off the bat. Because if you can't work, if you for whatever reason you're not competent.
Now I'm sure there's going to be some screaming leftists who are going to say, "Oh, what about the disabled people?" Well, they're there to be looked after by society.
If the disabled person could go out and get a job, that proves their competency. Therefore, they have the vote.
I fundamentally have a problem with people
because, as people say, there are many forms of disability, not just physical but mental as well. So if you're competent to go out and work, whether that's from home or the actual into workplace, and you pay your taxes, you get to vote.
Is it bad that I think of that stitch where he says, "I think you might have stitched me back wrong, so you're going to look after me and love me forever"? It just popped into my head.
Your weird thoughts. Funny, but weird. So literally the people that are going to go, oh, what about this, what about that? If you're working, it means you're competent. That's end of discussion.
I think democracy is too often not examined enough. It is only as precious as the next generation can hold it.
And the people that turn around and go, well, if you retire and you don't have a vote, how do you know you're going to get looked after? Then make your vote count when you do work. And to be quite honest, it should be part of policy of the government anyway to look after the elderly.
Yeah, absolutely. Any self-righteous democracy should be taken after the elderly and the young. And the argument about, as you said, about them being too few in number, I think that's a problem as well, Britain. We need to talk at some point about our birth rate, because it is fucking bad.
Yeah, the birth rate is an issue, but you can't turn around and say, oh, they're only a small minority or whatever. Bullshit, because that small minority
can change governments. Yeah, can change governments.
Yeah. It can make the difference from having a coalition government to a one-party government.
The coalition governments didn't work. The one we had when we were at our lifetime.
Was that Lib Dem and Conservative?
Yeah, fucking mess.
Yeah, how many issues did we have then? That one.
Oh my God! I wanted to skull fuck the people who put that party together.
Because they were constantly arguing with each other, so nothing got fucking done.
If you think Labour arguments bad now, go back and look at the fucking arguments going on between the Lib Dems and the Conservatives. A'udhu billah, that was something to watch.
So my summary of that is literally learn the voting age to 16 is a step in the right direction, but it must be executed properly.
Yeah.
Which is
with Labour, with this Labour government,
which at the moment is a concern because of the fact even Labour, even Conservative, the government before, execution seems to be our biggest bloody weakness. We're all blah 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 blah. Fuck all results. Yeah? Let's get that right. I think everyone could agree on that. Yeah.
Every government we've had in the last 50 years has been shit at execution.
Execution is the problem.
Massive execution problems.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but if you're the opposing party, if the leading party turns around and says, we need to control tax, we need to stabilise it, we need to halt it, every single party should work towards that for your people.
For your country.
Yeah, for your country. Not, no, it's been set. That's the reason why they've been turned around and put in office. That is the main goal.
Just, there's not enough unity in any part of British politics. And the apathy, my people, my beautiful people, my British people, you know, my nation that me and Chris love very dearly, that we are still here. Unlike everyone else who's making it and fucking off. We're still here. Britain, you need to start dealing with the incompetency at home. You really do. There is an unbelievable level of apathy, incompetence, and an unwillingness to tackle it.
Too much disagreement across the board.
And not enough fixing the problems.
Yeah. I can understand, obviously, opposition and questioning, going, there's no harm in going, right, we need to do this. I suggest this plan. You can raise a concern and turn around, do you think that's effective? Would it not be better if we just took this route instead of that route, but still achieve the same goal?
Absolutely.
It's called objective criticism.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which I'm sorry to say, at the moment seems to have gone out the window. It's not objective criticism, it's just criticism and beat you down with a stick.
Sounds like conservative criticism. I think that wraps us for the day, Chris. You?
Yeah.
Yeah. As always, I'm John, Sean, or Yahya, depends on what you're asking.
I'm Chris. Hope you have a smashing day. And our next podcast is going to be the lovely special with Discipline Dollar, which we are looking forward to having.
Yeah, very, very soon.
That discussion
couple of days we're going to be recording it. You won't see it for another 2 weeks. We got this to put up on Thursday, and then that one will come the Thursday after. I wanted to say at the very end, if you've got to this far, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe and join us as always, as it's always a pleasure to have more people on our podcasts. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.